This is the second and final call. Second and final call. Mr. Secretary? Yes, sir. May I invite you to carry out one of the first and most important tasks? Please.
Good morning, colleagues. This is a notice that convene this AGM. Notice is hereby given that the 49th Annual General Meeting of the National Security Employees Cooperative Credit Union Limited will be held on Saturday, July 8, 2017 at the Jamaica Conference Center, 14 to 20 Port Royal Street, Kingston, commencing at 10 a.m. Registration began at 9 a.m. and of course, the dress code was business casual. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And so we, having ascertained that there is a quorum, this AGM 49th in its sitting is now called to order, and we invite our Assistant Force Chaplain, Reverend Courtney Faulkner, to do prayers. I would call it prayer stroke devotion. And as you come, sir, I'm going to ask you to ensure that the prayer of St. Francis, which is at the inner of the cover page, inner section of the cover page, be part of your devotion.
Morning, everyone. This morning we pause to give God thanks for His grace and His mercies. And this morning could be otherwise minded. We could have all been plunged into mourning this morning, the unfortunate incident which occurred earlier, where our dear president's daughter was shot. But thankfully, our life is spared. Could we give God thanks this morning for that, for spared life? So if you see him a little shaky, not as sharp as he's always been, just see with him this morning and his family. Lamentation 3:20, 3:22 and 23 speaks that the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. And indeed, as we are assembled this morning, we give God thanks for three things: God's grace that has sustained us, God's guidance that has protected and led us into safe passage over all these years, and finally, God's gifts that has rewarded us financially and settled us emotionally. In the midst of crisis, in the midst of our tribulation, in the midst of our challenges, we're confident this morning that the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. I join the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 40, verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Could we stand together as we look to our God in prayer? Let us pray. To God be the glory, great things you are doing, great things you have done, and great things you will continue to do. Lord, this morning we are so thankful to you that we're not mourning, we're not grieving, for indeed you continue to protect your own. And we say again, to God be the glory. As we come this morning, Lord, we are cognizant that except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh, but in vain. So gracious Lord, into your hands we commend this AGM. Grant us clarity in thought and in speech. Grant unity in spirit and purpose, even in disagreement. Let us not be selfish in our own eyes and ambition. Let us rally around one cause for the advancement of this credit union. Bless our day's proceedings, and may all that we say and do bring glory and honor to your kingdom, as we tell our thanks in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Could we all turn to the prayer that is the book? And after two, we all read it together and pray together. 1, 2. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let sow love. Where there is inquiry, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardon that we are pardoned, and it is dying that we are born into eternal life. We all say amen. You may be seated. Thank you. Let us wait here. We don't make a stand. Huh? Let us wait here.
Yeah,
Let us go through that. And
you can just go straight into that.
If we turn to the obituary, the Board of Directors, Management and Staff, National Security Employees, Corporate Credit Union would like to offer our condolences to the families of the following members for 2016. Noel Drummond, the 10-24-16, Alfonso Cato, 3-13-16, Mark Gibbs, 08-19-16, Michael Robinson, 5-10-16, Lenore Evans, 2nd, 17-16, Philip Edwards, 9-8-16, Judith Williams, 4-29-16, Karen Brown, 8-15-16, Mark Rose, 8-12-16, Howard Chambers, 7-4-16, Carlton Morrison, 6-24-16, and Carl McFarlane, 8-4-16. Again, could we stand again as we pause for a moment in silence? After two, we begin. Moment to say 1, 2. Naked came I out of my mother's womb. Naked I returned thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. You may be seated.
These are the invitees, the ones that are ticked.
The ones that are ticked.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
here.
Thank you, Rev, for taking us through the devotion. And indeed, you know, sometimes we speak of a certain phrase and we use it one way and then it comes back to us another way. When they say what? God is good, and some people say what? And then we say all the time? Right. And so the second part of the prayer of St. Francis, very powerful prayer it is, you know. But as it relates to what is happening, I say, oh divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Thank you, Reverend. And we went through the whole aspect of item 4, which speaks to persons, some of whom would have been with us for the last AGM of last year and is no longer here. Let me use this opportunity. Let me use this opportunity to welcome everyone to this another of our annual general meeting. And amidst all that is happening, I am promising you, as you can see for yourself, that what is contained in that lovely book you have there is information of quality in all respect. In fact, the information that is so contained in that book is what gives us, and me personally, the energies, the vitamin, the vigor, the confidence to speak to you today. You are going to hear me say it now, and I will be saying it many more times during my discourse, that we being here is as a result of the trust you place in us. You elected us to serve you. And so we come for another AGM to report to you as to the duties we performed over the last year. In a little while, you will see in clear terms whether or not we have been wise and prudent in terms of how we handled that trust you place in us. Let me welcome a number of persons that are part of this morning's gathering. But by the way, West Indies playing today? Or tomorrow? And tomorrow is Sunday? Okay. Derek, you're not going to the match? You're going? You're a brave man. I'll tell you later why you're a brave man. Let me welcome Mr. Owen Lawrence from the League. Happy to have you, sir. Mr. Robert Carr. Yes. From the Department of Co-operative and Friendly Society, we have Miss Licia Miller. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. Very good, very good. Mr. Michael David Webb, our good friend. Tanisha Facey, right, our next good friend. And from the Correctional Services Credit Union, Mrs. Sonia Taylor, General Manager. Happy to have you.
Mr. Wheaton is here as well.
Mr. who?
Wheaton Clark from Correctional as well.
And I understand Mr. Weeman Clark from Correctional is also here. Yes, happy to have you, sir. From CUNA Mutual, we have Mr. Parks Oswald. Where is the Parks? Oh, he's on the outside. From JDF Credit Union, we have Mr. Howard Powell. Happy to have you, sir. And we also have Major Michael Anglin, the President. Yes, thank you. From the Jamaica Police Cooperative Credit Union, we have Mr. Anthony McLaughlin, Chairman. Happy to have you, Squaddy, colleague, friend. And from UHY Dorjen, these being our auditors Miss Lisa Cousins. Happy to have you, ma'am. Always have a great smile. Thank you. And we have our always in-house, dedicated, committed Carl Bryan, our stenographer. Indeed, indeed. All those persons that we have just recognized, please give them a hand. Let me move further with the welcome to speak of some persons I'm seeing in the audience. I looked over there and I'm seeing Mr. C.N. Powell, Justice of the Peace and former Commandant. Mr. Powell, yes, looking young as ever. All right. We're also seeing Mr. James Theophilus Golding, also former Commandant. Welcome, sir. All right, and I see you wearing that type of shirt these days, and I'm not talking about the color. All right, it fits nicely. All right. We're also seeing my good longtime friend James Brown, the great. Stand up, let them see you, man. Justice of the Peace also. Happy to have you, sir. I'm seeing a bright looking, it's not only the face, but everything else is looking so bright on this lady, Miss Brenda Lynn McFarlane, one of our former, yes, top star at the credit union. Happy to have you, Brenda. Let me look through again. Help me now, please. Don't let me leave out some of the long-time stalwarts. Who? Who? Kenneth Wright. Where's Kenneth? Kenneth! Yes. All right, Kenneth Wright, former commander of the ISCF. One of those people who helped grow me. And I'm seeing Tree the hard way down the corner there. In fact, I am very uncomfortable with the three of them sitting together right now. Roy Earl, Maurice Chana, and one Canute Bryan. Jesus, Mr. CEO, do we have the power to shift them up? The tree that is sitting there? They can stay. All right, welcome, guys. Let me look through. Where is Silvani? Silvani is always here. Where is she? Silvani? Yes, happy to have you. Happy to have you. Where is Newton Peart? Yes, stalwart in many ways. Served the credit union for many, many years, especially on the credit committee. Happy to have you. Who's that? Bell? Where's Bell? That's my good friend. Stand up, let me see you, man. Yes. Yes. I look like you're just ready to join the force. Yes. Happy to see you, Ian. All right. Who is that? Oh, gosh. James. Happy to see you, man. Colleagues, this is a personal friend of mine. This guy always see me anywhere full of encouragement and all that. Happy to see you, James. Why, you really look like you're enjoying the retirement. And that shot they look. Oh, you get that young pretty shot there from? Good to see you, James. Good to see you. Yes. Who? Superintendent. Hold on. Yeah, let me call her first because you see who is sitting beside her? Mrs. Haywood. Happy to have you, ma'am. Always here, always here. Derek Brown, may I ask you a question? You know work last night? So what you do here? Eh? Just like how you love what? You can't go and go just like how you love West Indies team. Happy to have you, Derek. Where's Barrington? Clear? Oh, clear. Yes, man. Yeah, man, old stalwart, man, old stalwart. You see, we have to use this moment because it is not often that we get a chance to sort of see some of you. Eh? Which Co-Bennett? You're mad, somebody? You can't call out Co-Bennett up and say, you're mad, man. You're mad, somebody. Then him worse him down, they sit down side of good people. You know, not joke with life, man. Come on. But colleagues all, on behalf of the Chief Executive Officer, who I believe in his own right should get his own personal recognition Mr. Osmond Brumfield, Justice of the Peace, former Commandant. You know, I was going to say something about that chair there, because I was going to call a particular name, but I realized I would go on into politics. So I'm leaving it alone. But the chair, the round of applause speaks for itself as to this indomitable gentleman, Osmond Brumfield himself. Happy to have you all. Let me, colleagues, in my own right as president, and on behalf of the Board of Directors, the Credit and Supervisory Committee, and the members of staff, say welcome to this, our 49th Annual General Meeting. Mr. Secretary, confirmation of minutes. We're at item 6. May I invite you to take this? May I have a motion that the minutes be taken as read? Moved by... No, we need more than that now. The stenographer need to record. Moved by Sophia Parkinson. And Sophia, Menes is here, Eunice, me want to ask you. That year the lighting poured down here. Sorry about that. Moved by Sophia Parkinson, seconded by Maurice Chana. And so we go straight into corrections. And the correction starts at from page 7 through to page 18. From pages 7 through to page 18. So we start at pages 7. Nothing on 7, we move to 8. Nothing on 8, we move to 9. 9 takes us into 10. 10 takes us into 11. When you see Derek there and everything all right, you know, say everything all right. 11 takes us into 12. 12 into 13. 13 takes us into 14. And if I am counting correctly, the next page is 15. 15 takes us into 16. 16 into 17. And 17 being the penultimate page of the minutes. And 17 takes us into 18 and final. That speaks to corrections of the minutes. Can we have a motion for its confirmation? Moved by Derek Brown, seconded by Nicola Thomas Burke. We go back now to matters arising from. So we go back to page 7. We go back to page 7, and we are at matters arising from the minutes. Nothing on 7, we go to 8. So we are now at matters arising from. 8 takes us into 9. 9 into 10. Ten takes us into 11. 11 takes us into 12. 12 takes us into 13. 13 takes us into 14. 14 takes us into 15. 15 takes us into 16. 16 takes us into 17. 17 takes us into 18 and final as it relates to matters arising therefrom. there be nothing else, that concludes our deliberations as it relates to the minutes of the 48th Annual General Meeting. Before we go to item 7, which speaks to report, there is an apology that ought to be tendered, and it has to do with Mr. Eric Wint and Ms. Daisy and Graham, 2 members of the Board of Directors who are unavoidably absent. Ms. Daisy is not well, and Mr. Eric Wint is not on the island of Jamaica. Also, we have Mrs. Carleen Allen, who is a member of the Credit Committee, and she may be coming in later on, but at the moment she is not here, and I'm told she won't be in. Are there any apologies for absence? Is there any apology for absence from the audience? There be none. Thank you. Before I get into the reports, let me just quickly browse through together our agenda. Coming up shortly are some very important reports. First, Board of Directors, then the Treasurer and Auditors report, Credit Committee, Supervisory Committee. When all of that is through, we move to the Nomination Committee's report, and that will encompass the election processes, Board of Directors, Credit Supervisory Committee, and delegates to the JCCUL. Item 9 speaks to the distribution of surplus. Item 10, the fixing of maximum liability. 11, resolution. 12, rule amendments. 13, appointment of auditors. 14, any other matter. 15, vote of thanks. 16, drawing of prizes. And you know, a lot of persons are lucky at that area. From time to time, the persons walk away on a Saturday with some good monies. So we have the drawing of prizes later on. Termination, and right thereafter we move to some lovely lunch that has been prepared. So that is what the activities speaks for today. The first we have is the Board of Directors report, and that is being done by yours truly. And I must confess to you that at some point this morning, I wonder if I would be able to read this report. As Rev said earlier, if you see me looking any other way than what that photograph in the book speaks to, please understand. The National Security Co-operative Credit Union Limited, despite the many challenges in the financial environment, our mission of improving the economic empowerment of our members remain by providing high quality, attractive financial services and accountable counsel, whilst acting with values of integrity, financial prudence, transparency, and in conformity with the statutory regulations. Our vision of becoming the financial institution of choice for our members is guided by your continued support and participation that enable us to tailor products and services to meet your needs. The economy. The Jamaican economy improved when compared to 2015. It grew by 1.4%, and inflation rate fell to its lowest since 1964 to 1.7% for the calendar year 2016. Jamaica recorded its 5th consecutive year of improvement in its trade account deficit, as well as net international reserve, NIR, closing at 2.8 billion US, which represents a 24.7 weeks of import. The country successfully recorded 13 consecutive reviews under the Economic Reform Program of the International Monetary Fund Extended Fund Facility Agreement, and a new 3-year precautionary standby arrangement was successfully negotiated with the IMF, aimed at preserving macroeconomic stability and sustained growth and job creation. Credit union movement performance. The credit union movement. Despite 2016 being a very competitive one, the movement improved its saving loans and asset portfolios during the year. Additionally, credit unions recorded a combined unaudited healthy surplus of 1.266 billion at the end of the year, representing a 43.8% increase when compared to the surplus of 882.097 million in 2015. This signals a significant rebound, given the surplus for 2015 represented a 30% decline relative to the previous year. The movement started 2016 with 34 credit unions. However, the number of credit unions declined as a result of mergers, ending the year at 32. Credit union growth. Total saving grew by 8.44% from 68.08 billion in 2015 to 73.83 billion at the end of 2016. The value of loans outstanding increased from 59.48 billion to 63.73 billion, or a 7.15% increase over 2015. Total assets increased by 7.85% to 95.67 billion, up from 88.71 billion for prior year. Credit unions surpassed the 1 million membership mark with an annual growth of 2.88%, which brought membership to 1,028,182,000. 1 million, yes. This year used to the $1 billion. The National Security Employees Cooperative Credit Union Limited performance. And this, my friend, I am now audience moving down and drilling down right into us. So we now get into the business of speaking about this credit union. What have we done? You haven't placed us here. The National Security Employees Cooperative Credit Union Limited recorded another successful year of operation, resulting in comprehensive income of 24.5 million. This success was through vigilant financial navigation and hands-on action to the shifting operating environment, while still meeting our members' financial needs and satisfaction. We are aware of the operating environment and have employed the necessary strategies to achieve greater income generation and improve productivity to provide a cushion and complement to our members against the impact of the economic difficulties. We remain devoted to developing creative, comprehensive, and suitable products and services to meet your every need while practicing all tenets of prudential financial administration. And this is why each time that you come, you hear of something new and different as we sit and we strategize and look at how best we can continue to serve you and to meet your needs. Capital base. Capital adequacy is one of the main requirements for licensing under BOJ credit union regulation, and our institutional capital stands at 12.84%, which is above the minimum requirement set by the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League, Pearl Standard, and BOJ primary ratio of 8% and 6% respectively. Our fixed asset to capital ratio is 37.6%, which is within the BOJ standard of less than 50%. And as you go along, I know you're following. If you don't have a book, which I know you all have, it's on the screen, and you can look at the tables there for yourselves and further be informed. Financial performance in key operational areas. The key performance of the credit union resulted in total asset moving from 1.6 billion to 1.8 billion, an increase of 263 million or 16.11% in 2016 when compared to the previous year. The loan portfolio increased by 234 million or 18.58%, moving from 1.26 billion in 2015 to 1.495 billion in 2016. The saving portfolio moved from 1 billion in 2015 to 1.150 billion in 2016, a growth of 149 million or 14.95%, as is highlighted in table 1. And I pause because, and I'm not asking for it. It should come naturally. And let me, before I continue to read, let me tell you why it ought to come naturally. When you examine the competitive financial environment in which we operate, when you get deeper into the financials and also realize that there are other entities who is not even quarter way near reporting as to how we are right now, then I'm saying to you, I am not asking for it. Give it to us. You place us here, you place the trust and confidence in us. We are reporting to you that we are delivering, and we are delivering quality goods. What was that, was? Thank you. There's more to come. Delinquency. The credit union continues to be impacted by the sharp increase in the rate of resignation of the members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. However, effective delinquency control measures were employed to keep delinquency at manageable level, such as engaging the services of the Credit Bureau and the engagement of debt collection agencies. As at December 2016, the delinquency stood at 2.15% of our loan portfolio. We have pursued court proceedings against some delinquent individuals, as we are ardent about keeping this portfolio to a minimum and for it to continue to remain below the credit union Pearl standard of 5%. So the credit union Pearl standard, as it relates to delinquency, is 5%, and look at where we are, 2.1. And I'm not telling anybody business, because I don't want to tell you about what are the results in other areas, in other institutions in the financial arena. Risk and compliance. Credit unions are required to establish and implement policies, procedures, and programs to prevent and detect money laundering and finance of terrorist activities in compliance with the anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism, AML, CFT laws. In keeping with this, the Board of Directors has appointed a nominated officer who has the dual role of managing legal matters as well as enterprise risk management. The core function of enterprise risk management in the credit union is to ensure that significant risk undertaken to increase profitability are adequately identified and managed. At the core of this is the identification of the credit union's risk through the use of the risk register and also consistently updating the policies and procedures to manage the identified risk. The credit union also continues to maintain a high level of compliance with all laws and regulations relating to its operation. Throughout the year 2016, the credit union continued its work on the improvement of the enterprise risk management framework, and measures taken include: 1. Threshold and suspicious transaction reporting to the designated authority. 2. Know your customer due diligence, and this speaks to updating customer information, employees' integrity awareness. 3. Evaluation of the credit union's compliance with the regulations and guidance notes. And 4. AML, CFT, and POCA training and retraining were undertaken with staff to guide employees. And I could add to that staff and also board and also volunteers. Right, I remember doing my exam.
All of us, eh?
Oh, you remember, George? Okay.
95.
Huh?
95.
I got how much?
95.
95? You hear that, Master James? That is ARA plus. At the university, 70 is a A. So how you say 95 being still A? Thank you, sir. Products and services. The board of directors is committed to providing the correct blend of products and services to the satisfaction of all our members, and as such, we continue to provide a wide range of products and services. We have launched our online banking where you can transfer funds, check account balances, and pay bills online in the comfort of your home or from anywhere in the world. Derek, you hear that? Eh? No, Derek, may I ask you again, you hear that? All right. No. After years of you correcting us and advising and guiding, we have to take those into consideration to fine tune and to make better. All right, boss. Thank you. So just to reiterate, colleagues, and we're not taking up time. Today is Saturday's hours in many ways. When you can now see, I am now looking at a lovely lady who has just joined us. Welcome, Miss Makalski. Yes, stand up, make we see you. Look sharp there. Very good. Welcome. But and the very lady that just stand, Miss Makalski, the very Brendalyn McFarlane, the very James Brown and some others, and the same Derek Brown, and I can call a few other names, can speak to the fact of where we started and where we are today, so that if you are in Israel tomorrow morning and you want to do a transaction with your credit union, you can go online and you can pay your bills in comfort. In keeping with our vision of being the financial institution of choice, the credit union continues to provide supplementary services such as the Bill Express facility and family indemnity plan insurance. You know, I'm going to skip the first one, but I'm pausing at the second one, the family indemnity plan. Colleagues, if anyone is sitting here who has not yet inked your signature on that document, I urge you to do it. Right? The facilities is outside right now. I urge you, when you get a break, go and do it if you have not done so yet. That FIP, I have seen a lot of hard faces becoming nice, soft, and relaxed when they know that because they did it at that moment of an eventual situation that wasn't planned, something is there that can respond to your financial need. So that FIP, take it on. We offer secure and unsecured loans for all purposes and savings that attract the most competitive rate of return in the market. 3 new loan products were also introduced, namely the Super Consolidation Loan, Quick and Easy Loan, and Back to School Loan. We have also reduced the interest rate on real estate and new motor car purchase loans by 3% and 5% respectively. So you can change a car then now, can you? Can you? You can change a car then now. All right. Staff development. The board of directors continue to invest in the development and training of directors, committee members, management and staff to add significant value to the credit union. We are cognizant that human resource must be able to support and enable the execution of strategy through building organizational capability. Hence, we ensure that our committee members, management and staff were being trained to the highest level of efficiency relevant to their job function to be able to give quality service and professional advice to our members. A number of internal training sessions were conducted covering areas such as customer service, sales and cross-selling, customer charter and complaints procedure, Proceeds of Crime Act, POCA, management policy and products and services overview. Board of directors, management and staff, committee members also participated in training programs conducted by the Jamaica Co-operative Credit Union League. These include credit administration, classification and provisioning and non-accrual requirement workshops, Insolvency Act awareness session, business continuity planning and sensitization workshop, audit technique for supervisory and internal auditor, orientation for new credit union staff, delinquency management, and meeting protocols for credit union presidents and secretaries. Staff complement. At the end of 2016, the credit union had a total staff complement of 41 employees operating from the head office and 3 rural branches, which includes the employment of 2 new employees. Throughout the year, 3 employees resigned and 2 went off on retirement. Marketing and customer service. The opinion of our members is very important and gives us the opportunity to ascertain their feedback on our products, services, and our customer service delivery. This was captured by conducting market surveys through the use of questionnaires. Additionally, members were kept abreast of all products, services, and changes within the credit union via quarterly publication of our newsletter and brochures. The credit union continues several customer relation management CRM strategies by sending text messages, birthday greetings, emails, and welcome letters to new members, as well as engaging our members on various social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter. Earl, you know about Facebook and Twitter, right? Let me tell you something, Earl. Well, tell you the truth, I don't too much more to Twitter, but me have me touch a little Facebook. Cherry Clark Reach? Where's she? Cherry! Very good, very good. Stand up, let me see you. And that is an instruction. It's not a request. Very good, looking sharp. All right, and if me don't remember when you go home later, say hello for me. All right. So you see, folks, the credit union continues to keep a pace with the new technologies that are here, all for the purposes of ensuring that our members are kept in the loop in all way, shape, and form. The member referral program continues, and members entering the competition were required to refer a minimum of 10 new members on a monthly basis for a chance to compete and win cash prizes of $25,000, $15,000, and $10,000. And I understand that things are going well there. Only that people like me can benefit, can participate. Corporate social responsibility. We continue in our efforts to enhance the socio-economic well-being of our members through granting of scholarship, bursaries, sponsorships, and donations. A number of members, their families, charitable organizations, and JCF sports activities and projects benefited from outreach assistance totaling $4.1 million. These included Members Appreciation Day held at Sugarman's Beach, Police Area Sports Day and the Chaplaincy Services Domino Tournament, JCF Area Netball Competition, Police Law Enforcement Torch Run, Police Federation 73rd Conference, sponsorship of the Kingston and St. Andrew Queen Competition, 75 GSAT students receive grants, 4 members receive memorial scholarship. These scholarships, may I remind you, the Leroy Burnett, the Lincoln Grant and Decent Nicholas and Leonie Smythe Meledo Memorial Scholarship of $200,000 each. Board of Directors attendance report, and you can see in clear terms there. You can see, as you are looking through, all persons on the board would have attended, and you can use that to realize the level of commitment in all facets of our members, bearing in mind that that a lot of our board members are persons who are within the JCF and the demands based on the areas of their deployment. Nevertheless, you are seeing here very good returns in terms of their turnout to deal with the business that you have elected us to do. Appreciation, and I'm at the close. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I wish to thank the many individuals and organizations who partnered with us throughout the year 2015-16, namely the Credit Union League, the Credit Union Fund Management Company, Centralized Strategic Services, Department of Cooperative and Friendly Societies, the Bank of Jamaica, CUNA Caribbean Insurance Jamaica Limited, National Union of Cooperatives, and the Ministry of National Security payroll staff. We could not have done it on our own, and so special thanks and appreciation goes out to our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Osmond Bromfield, and his capable management team and staff for their excellent performance throughout the year. We thank the Credit and Supervisory Committee for their assistance throughout the year, and most of all, to you, the general membership, for your support over the period. We will continue to serve you well, and we look forward to serving you again. Yes, at this point, any question, any suggestion, any comments? You have your mic there, you know. Not working.
There's one behind you. Stand up behind yourself. Stand up behind you.
Use the mic there, sir, Derek. See the mic there. Stand up, man. Yeah, me know you work last night like me.
Yes, I only say that you have left nothing for us to comment about. Only to say that on behalf of the rest of the members, thank you for a job well done, and you have put our trust a little bit more. I think I speak for everybody because everybody else is silent. So I'm opening my mouth and talk when I say, you know, if it goes bad, I will kick you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. McBurk, yes? Oh, all right. All right, let me take Mrs. Haywood, and I'm coming to you, Thomas.
Suggestion.
Yes.
In relation to the delinquency,
Yes.
I'm suggesting that persons who resign, that through the credit union, via their lawyer, can write to the Ministry of National Security, JCF, and ask that members, especially those who have money to receive, you can retrieve or get back the money that is owing to the credit union.
Okay. Excellent suggestion. Noted. Yes, Miss Burke.
Yes, sir. I can attest to.
You know why you use the mic?
attest to online banking out of Jamaica, in Asia.
Lord, you show off.
Every month, I do my online transaction, I pay my bills, member-to-member transaction, all of those lovely things from my dorm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very good, very good. From where you say?
Beijing, China.
All right, me not going to ask you that over there. All right, that seems to be it as it relates to that. Thank you very much, colleagues. We will now listen to Mr. George Hunter, our treasurer, as he will present the treasurer and auditor's report. Make him welcome, please.
Thank you much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a privilege again for me to stand here to present to you our Treasurer's report. Before I do so, though, I'll ask the Miss Lisa Cousin from UHY Dargen to read the auditor's report. And take note, the auditor's report is in a different format. Normally, it would be a one-page document. Now it's almost 3 pages. So you realize that things have changed. So she will read to you the auditor's report. Thank you. Ms. Cousins?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Mr. Hunter indicated, the report is quite a bit longer than previous years, which is a new standard. But you can bear with me, please. This is the report. I want to tell you, this is on page 29. So I invite you to turn to that page. This is the report of the independent auditors to the Registrar of Cooperatives and Friendly Societies, National Security Employees Cooperative Credit Union Limited, formerly Jamaica Special Constabulary Cooperative Credit Union, a society registered under the Cooperative Societies Act. Opinion. We have audited the financial statements of National Security Employees Credit Union Limited, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2016, the statement of comprehensive income, statements of changes in equity and cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the credit union's financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the credit union as at 31st December 2016, and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. Basis of opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with International Standards on Auditing, ISAs. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. We are independent of the credit union in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, IESBA Code, and thank you. And we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESBA Code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Other information. Management is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the information included in the annual report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditor's report thereon. Our opinion on the financial statements does not cover the other information, and we do not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit of the financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information and, in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit, or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. If, Based on the work we have performed, we conclude that there is a material misstatement of this other information. We are required to report that fact. We have nothing to report in this regard. Responsibilities of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with IFRSs, and for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the credit union's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing, as applicable, matters related to the going concern and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the credit union or to cease operations or has no realistic alternative but to do so. Those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the credit union's financial reporting process. Auditors' responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it is not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with ISAs will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if, individually or in the aggregate, they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of these financial statements. As part of an audit in accordance with ISAs, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also identify and assess the risks of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or the override of internal control. Obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the credit union's internal control. Evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. We also conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis of accounting, and based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists related to events or conditions that may cast significant doubt on the credit union's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in the financial statements, or if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of the auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the credit union to cease to continue as a going concern. Evaluate the overall presentation, structure, and content of the financial statements, including the disclosures, and whether the financial statements represent the underlying transactions and events in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control that we identified during our audit. Report on additional matters as required by the Co-operative Societies Act. We have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been maintained so far as appears from our examination of those records, and the financial statements which are in agreement therewith give the information required by the Cooperative Societies Act in the manner required. Signed, UHY Dawson, Chartered Accountants. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ms. Cousins from UGH Dawson. Ladies and gentlemen, the Treasurer's Report is a summary of the Auditor's Report, and the Auditor's Report can be found at page 32 to page 82. And the Treasurer's Report can be found from page 24 to page 26. The Jamaican economy recorded growth in domestic product 1.4% for the calendar year 2016. The inflation rate dropped to 1.7%, the lowest rate since 1964. The government of Jamaica passed 13 consecutive International Monetary Fund tests. A new 3-year precautionary standby agreement was successfully negotiated with the IMF, aimed at preserving macroeconomic stability and sustained growth and job creation. Jamaica's balance of payments recorded its 5th consecutive year of improvement in 2016. The Jamaica Stock Exchange continued to increase buoyancy in the local equities market, resulted in increase in all JSE index in 2016. The Jamaican economy is projected to grow by 1.7% in gross domestic product in 2017. Now I take you to the National Security Employees Credit Union. The National Security Employees Credit Union Limited performs strongly against the competitions, namely commercial banks and microfinancial institutions. The credit union recorded growth in all areas of its operation. I'll take you now to the portfolio growth, and you can look on the PowerPoint there, you can see the portfolio growth. Loans increase from 1,260,890,000 to 1,138,000, and in a monetary change of $234,248,000, a change of 18.58%. Liquid assets. In 2015, the liquid assets, 265,229,000, increased to 296,279,000, a monetary change of $31.049 million, or 11.71%. Total equity increased from 240,564,000,000 to $256.648 million, an increase of $16.083 million, or 6.69%. Total savings increased from $1 billion to $1,150,000,000, an increase of $149.56 million, or 15%. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2016, our total asset base increased from $1.635 billion to $1,899,000,000, an increase of 16.11%. income and expenditure, we have to operate. Loans, interest and loans. In 2015, we paid $250,975,000 on interest and loans. We earned, sorry. In 2016, it increased to $280,367,000, an increase of $29,392,000 or 11.71%. Interest and investments. In 2015, we paid $6.6 million investment. We earned $6.6 million on investment, and in 2016 we earned 7.068, an increase of 6.74%. Miscellaneous income. In 2015 is 6.639. In 2016, 13.8, an increase of 108.85%. The total income and expenditure for 2016 is $301,449,000, an increase of $37,113,000 or 14%. Cost of fund. Cost of fund. In 2016, savings and deposits. In 2015, savings and deposit is $17.083 million. In 2016 is 21.17, an increase of $4 million or 23.93% we earn. And that is what we pay on deposit. Our external credit decrease. In 2015, our external credit cost us $37.1 million. And in 2016, we reduced it to $33.049, a reduction of $4,125,000 or 11.10%. Bank charges. As you're aware of, the bank charges come in debate in Parliament. So we also have some concern about that too. So we looked at our bank charges, whereas in 2016, we paid $356,928 for bank charges, and this increased to $530,711 and bank charges of 48.69%. Our total cost of fund for 2015 compared to 2016 increased by $1,420,971 or 2.45%. Profitability, Mr. Brown, profitability. In 2016, our gross income, $204,480,126. This increased to $239,677,417, a monetary change of $35.1 million or 17.21%. Our operating expenses increased from $186 million to $217 million, a monetary change of $31.5 million or 17%. Our net income. In 2015, our net income were $18.3 million. In 2016, this net income increased to $21.99 million, a monetary change of 3,676,873 or 20.0%. I repeat that again, Mr. Brown. You're looking at me laughing. In 2015, our profitability was $18.3 million. This increased to $21.9 million. That's round top 22, Mr. Brown. Or $3.7 million increase, a 20.07% increase. Now I take you to the expenditure. Personnel cost. In 2015, our personnel cost was $119 million, and this increased to $135.7 million in 2016, a monetary change of $15.7 million or 13.1%. Members insurance. You see members here, just we pay for insurance, LS and LP insurance, another cost for our members. This in 2015 we paid $13.5 million. In 2016 we paid $13.8 million, an increase of $242.6 thousand or 1.79%. Marketing and promotion. In 2015 we spent on promotions and marketing $3.8 million. This increased to $4.7 million in 2016, and in monetary change of $861,000 or 22.35%. Administrative expenditure. This in 2015 we paid $334,852 million. This increased to $37.7 million in 2016, a 2.9 million change, monetary change or 8.41%. Affiliation expenditure. In 2015, $14.8 million. This increased to $25.6 million in 2016, a monetary change of $10.7 million or 72.57%. The total expenditure for 2016 compared to 2015 is, in 2015 is 186.1, and this increased to $217.6 million in 2016, a monetary change of $31.5 million or 16.93%. Ladies and gentlemen, delinquency is our concern, although we are still in the range. I'll take you now to the delinquency. Delinquent loans amount to $32.2 million, a rate of 2.15% of total loans. While the rate falls within the credit union movement standard of 5%, this is still a cause for concern. Consequently, all possible efforts will be engaged to manage delinquency, including court actions and engagement of debt collection agencies. So if you can help us, we appreciate your help. Acknowledgement. I would like to express my gratitude to the members of the Board of Directors who have entrusted me with the responsibility of treasurer. Your enthusiasm and commitment and support was inspiring. I must thankful to the management and staff for their dedication, loyalty, and hard work, which has undoubtedly contributed to another successful year for the credit union movement. To the Department of Corporate and Friendly Societies, UHY Dodge and Chartered Accountant, Incorporated Paul Goldson and Company, and Jamaica Co-operative Credit Union League, acknowledgement for your support throughout the year. To all our members of National Co-operative Credit Union, immeasurable appreciation and deepest gratitude is extended to you for electing me to serve as member of the board of directors and for your kind support throughout the year. I thank you. Thank you for the privilege to serve you in 2016. I'm looking forward to serve you in the near future. Now I've presented to you the chair's report. Any questions? Any comment?
The auditor has already said everything. And with what you said, I know you had some little shaking because the figures were shaking. But this is to show you how much the credit union is growing, and we need to support it as much as possible. So I would implore the rest of the members to get to the movement and do it as much as we can. Because in times like this where financial institutions are going down, our own is going up. And I see you in the report before, from the board report, it says that some credit unions have to merge. Thank God, oh, nobody, we don't have to merge with nobody, and they have to merge with we.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you, Mr. Brown. The figures sometimes are very technical, you know, because calling figures, you have to be careful when you put the points. Thank you. Any more comments? Big money hard for call, man. Any suggestion? Thank you very much. All the best.
Indeed, let's us really, sorry, thanks to our treasurer for really, because in essence, this is where the rubber hits the road in terms of the financials. And for us to be able to come to you in 2017, outlining what we did for the year in review of 2016, and to speak in this very glowing way of increases, a lot of increases. The various tables are there and they are showing you in clear terms what has been happening, and we say thanks for that. You know, I think it was Friday morning, I was looking at morning time and I saw they put on the screen a Chinese proverb, and it says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Mr. Golden, I bet you know, tell me when them say it's the second best time. Right now, very good. I'll buy you a Pepsi later. The second best time is now, right? And if some of you can recall, I said it in simple terms, that if you put away $1,000 per month starting January, at the end of December, you'll have $12,000. And if you do that for 10 years, you're looking at $120,000. And then, yes, most plus interest, right? And depending on the type of instrument or where you put it, you know, you will be able to speak in that way. We continue with our agenda, and we now invite the credit committee and its chairman, Mr. Watson, to read the report of the credit committee. Make him welcome, please.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's afternoon. I'm so sorry. Good afternoon. Report of the Credit Committee for year ending 2016. The Credit Committee is a voluntary body consisting of 5 members elected by the general membership. The role of the Credit Committee is to examine and approve loan above shares application and to ratify loans approved by the Credit Administrative Manager. We meet twice per month on average. However, unscheduled meetings are held when the need arises. The committee also sits on 4 quarterly meetings with the Board of Directors and the Supervisory Committee. 2016 review. During a policy review retreat held in St. Anne in April 2016, the Credit Committee did a Proceed of Crime Act POCA examination, and all members were successful and awarded a certificate. And the President outlined that he got 95. I got 95 and a half. The Board of Directors were very creative by implementing the super consolidation loan in the month of May 2016. Members must have an existing loan to be qualified for the super consolidation loan. This new offering allowed the members to consolidate their debts and maintain liquidity. Loans such as demand loan and easy access loan were all increased. These loans were also reintroduced in the month of December. The Credit Committee ensured that all loans applied for by members, once qualified, were duly approved or ratified in accordance with the credit union rules, regulation, and policy. Annual General Meeting Review. The 48th Annual General Meeting of the National Security Employees Cooperative Credit Union Limited was held on Saturday, July 23rd, 2016 at the Jamaica Conference Center, Port Royal Street, Kingston. The following members of the Credit Committee retired and made themselves available for nomination: Mr. Anthony Lewis, Mrs. Patsy Wallen-Lindsay, Mrs. Carleen Allen. They were all selected to return and serve for an additional 2 years. Attendance report. And for that period, 26 scheduled meetings were held. And if you look at the table, you see where most of the members attended all the meetings. It is showing how dedicated we are in conducting the business on your behalf. And for the year 2016, a total of 26 meetings were held, one of which was used for the election of chairman and secretary. This saw Stephen Watson, me, being nominated and elected to be chairman, and Patsy Wallen-Lindsay nominated and elected to be secretary. And before I go to the acknowledgement, the president made mention of Mr. Golding and his muscle shirt, but he did not make mention of Mr. Taylor and his new hairstyle. Christopher Taylor, this is. He's right in the back there. Stand and be acknowledged, Mr. Taylor. And if you look at the new hairstyle, the Credit Committee wishes to use this medium to thank the Board of Directors, Management, Supervisory, Education, and Nominating Committees, staff, and members of the National Security Employee Co-op Credit Union Limited for your support during 2016, and we look forward to your continued support. Let me just use this opportunity to ask, are there any questions from or comments from the members? There be none. Once again, thank you.
Stephen Watson, gentlemen, not just the the top person there as it relates to chairing the credit committee, but for those of you who know him, know that he is a very strident person in the cause of Jamaica's national security efforts. All right, thank you for your report, Sir Watson. We will now move to the Supervisory Committee report, and as we move from the term supervisory to speak of the watchdog group of the credit union. And we invite Mr. Nigel Davis, the chairman, to come forward with that report. Please make him welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been hearing the result of the examination, the POCA, and as the oversight group, we all got 100%. Report of the Supervisory Committee for the year ending 2016. The Supervisory Committee's role is to maintain oversight of the safety and soundness of the credit union. Operating independently of all entities at the credit union, we ensure that the Board of Directors function in a manner beneficial to the members. We also review practices and procedures followed by staff to verify that management carries out the policies set by the board. In addition, we monitor compliance with applicable laws and regulation. At the 40th Annual General Meeting held on the 23rd of July 2016, the following members were duly elected and served on the Supervisory Committee in the following capacity. Yours truly, Chairman Jennifer Dixon Gordon, Secretary Sanche Miller McPherson, Omar Drisdale, Julian Oscar. The following table show the attendance for the committee members for the period January to December 2016, and you can have a look at the attendance register. The amenities of the Centralized Strategic Services Limited, a member of the Jamaica Co-operative Credit Union League, was contracted to perform internal audit function at the credit union. This has proven to be another invaluable tool in ensuring that members' assets are protected. With the oversight of the Supervisory Committee and management, the internal auditor has worked tirelessly to identify potential weaknesses in our systems and control before they can become a problem. The committee was able to focus on a large number of reviews on various areas of the operation. The following areas were reviewed and subsequent monthly reports sent to the Board of Directors and Management: delinquent portfolio, dormant and deceased account, disbursement process, members' loan, fixed assets, shares and deposits, financial statements, anti-money laundering, proceeds of crime, Board of Directors minutes, marketing strategies. There was general adherence to the established policies and procedures, compliance with the related laws and regulations that governs the credit union's operations were adequate. We were able to make recommendations and implementation of which resulted in improvement in the control environment, thus reducing the risk of loss to the organization. The Supervisory Committee reviewed the results and follows up with management on any action items identified in the report. The Supervisory Committee can say with complete confidence that the credit union continues to maintain a high level of financial safety and soundness. We will remain vigilant representatives of our members' interests, ensuring continued safety and soundness for your money as the credit union strives to provide you and your family with excellent member service. We wish to record our warmest and sincere thanks to the President, board members, CEO, members of staff, our internal auditor, Mr. Owen Lawrence, and the team from the Centralized Strategic Services Limited for their courtesy and cooperation throughout the year. We recognize the hard work undertaken by all to maintain and improve the support and services provided by the credit union to its members. We would like to close by reminding members that they can contact the Supervisory Committee regarding unresolved credit union problems, suspicion of fraud, suggestions for improvements, or similar confidential correspondence at the address listed below. Once again, thank you. Are there any questions? Comment?
My name is known all over the place.
Okay, Mr. Derek Brown.
My name is Derek Brown.
Yes.
All right. I'm looking at your page at 85, where you have the committee and your meetings, and I see where you have 2 persons that were absent from 2 meetings. You did not get an excuse or what? Explain it to me, if you can.
In fact, it should have read excuse. It was when the editing was done that typo error was made.
No, it couldn't be typo error. You see, I have been beating up the movement from morning, said they are a perfect typist, and you are saying now that they made an error.
But as the chairman of the group, all persons that you see were accounted for as excused, because I received a response from them to the reason why they are not in attendance. Yes, and I still stick to what I said. It was a typo error. All right, Mr. Brown, accept. Are there any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Davis, for that report. Ever sharp Derek Brown. Ever sharp Derek Brown to see what is happening there. And those persons were really excused, Derek. But your alertness speaks volume in that regard. For the audience, but especially those persons that are here that are non-police personnel, sometimes the duties and the immediacy of some things really takes you away from, you know. In fact, in one instance, I remember being on the way to a meeting and some emergency issues cropped up. They had us to divert. All right. We go back to agenda and we are on for lunch at 1. So whilst we had wanted to go through and take that last, we're on for lunch at 1 and thereafter we come back here and continue. However, we have some minor adjustments here. The item 8, which carries with it about 5 other sub-areas there at item 8, we're going to leave that for a little while. And we're now going to go to item 11, which is resolution. So we're going to have resolution, distribution of surplus, and the fixing of the maximum liability. These are the 3 items that we will treat with now. I think these will take us into lunch. And when we get back, we move into item 8 and carry on from there. So at this point, I invite Mr. Yes, sorry about that. Can we have a motion for the amendment of our agenda, seeing that we have to make this adjustment? Moved by Alicia Graham, seconded by Chambers Nunes. Colleagues, yes, and the reports that have been taken to include the Board of Directors, the Treasurer's report, the Supervisor report, and the Credit Committee report. We want a motion that they be adopted en bloc. Moved by Roy Earl, seconded by Mrs. Awood. The first name is Yvonne? Yvonne Wright Awood. Have that, sir? All right, thank you. So I'll now invite Mr. Osmond Bromfield, our CEO, to treat with the item 11 resolution.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me firstly say why we are making the change. It is because of the importance of the subject and the implication that it will have on the distribution of surplus. We have received the latest draft of the Bank of Jamaica regulation. And the regulation coming in two formats. The things that you must do and the things that you must not do. If you do the things that you must not do, you commit an offense. And if you, I don't know if I get mixed up, and if you do the other one, and you should not do it, then you commit an offense. So anyway, any corner you go, it's an offense, and it's a criminal offense. Regulation 25, subsection E of the new draft stipulate that credit union shall not grant to a member unsecured credit in excess of 1% of the capital base of the credit union. So essentially, 1%, the capital base right now is 243 million. Of that 243 million, 83 million is for deferred share. Deferred share by its nature, and you would have seen it in the very report, the international reporting standard don't recognize deferred share as part of capital. And the auditor highlighted in, I think it's, let me see if it was at page 32, I think it was. It's highlighted there. But while I search for that, I'll just say to you, however, the Bank of Jamaica the Bank of Jamaica regulation, however, recognized deferred share as part of capital. But deferred share by its tenure or its nature is not very stable. The arrangement or the contractual arrangement is that it should be there for a minimum of 5 years for it to be considered as capital. But each year it has what they refer to as a discounting effect. It is discounted by 20% each year. In 2014, we had this meeting agreed to a resolution or approve a resolution for us to transfer some of our voluntary share to create the deferred share. But because of this, it is discounting effect or nature, that transfer would have been, it is now 3 years since it has gone. So it means that only 40% of that amount would have been regarded as capital. The remaining 60 would have been gone back as as liability. And you know, capital is part of the equity of the business. We have been granting what we refer to as unsecured credit to our members in excess of $2.5 million. By the nature of the regulation, if it were to be enforced now, with the assessment of our deferred share, being, I don't want to use the word impaired because it's not impaired, it's really just discounted. It means that we will be in trouble with the regulator. The stable portion of our capital is about 160 million. That means that you should not grant unsecured credit in excess of 1.6 million to any single member. And we have, based on our record now, have granted to about 1,313 members unsecured credit in excess of that 1.6 million. So we need now to correct the situation, and the way to correct it is by one of two ways. We propose to have a resolution initially to have that sum transfer from voluntary share, from deferred share to permanent share to make it stable. And it means therefore that the 243 million would have been seen as capital. And then you could grant unsecured credit at up to $240 million, 43 million, or 2.43 to a single member. We know calling on you for your understanding. Yes, initially we had that arrangement to redeem that deferred share after 5 years, subject to really, if your liability is less than your asset to the credit union, you'll be able to withdraw it. But because of the unstable nature of our credit now, our capital, we need for us to do something to correct that. Why we did not put forward the distribution of surplus first before we take on this one is that whatever we do and however we approach it now would hinge on that. And therefore, we had a meeting with the registrar on Thursday. The belief of the registrar was somewhat uncomfortable with that straight arrangement. The registrar, however, pointed out that our present rule, and this is Rule 16 and Rule 79, empowered the board to make arrangement for the redemption of deferred share and permanent share. In other words, what the registrar was saying is that we could have a bylaw, and a bylaw is an arrangement between the board of directors and the registrar itself. In other words, the board could formulate an arrangement as how you would deal with your deferred share, subject to the approval of the registrar. We were somewhat not so comfortable with that because it's like we'll be taking you from behind, treating you in the dark. And we believe that we're confident to put forward to you our position and for you to support it and to strengthen it. So we had a compromise with the registrar. So page 90, and I'm going to read what it says here. We had agreed to present it as a notice of motion rather than a motion. And the difference between a notice of motion and a motion is that the motion would have been dealt with and voted on at this meeting. A notice of motion is to be dealt with at a future date. While we are not, but we still want you to know what is happening. So if the bylaw were to be changed tomorrow, and the board will be empowered to do the adjustment to conform with the regulation, then you would have at least have an idea what is it that we are trying to do. However, if after I have explained it, you're of the view that you want to make the decision today, we are prepared to have it today. And then that in itself would give effect to the change in the bylaws. And then all of us will be comfortable. But what I'm presenting, in effect now, is a notice of motion. And I'm going to read that motion now. Notice of motion now. Whereas the government of Jamaica releases the latest draft of the Bank of Jamaica Credit Union regulation, and whereas Regulation 25, paragraph E of the said regulation state that credit union shall not, except where the credit facility does exceed 1% of the credit union capital base, grant unsecured credit to a single member. And whereas the capital base of the National Security Employees Cooperative Credit Union as at December 31st, 2016 was permanent share 66,607,416, institutional capital 93,697,087, and deferred share 83,562,365, a total of 243,866,868 dollars. And whereas the portion that is deferred share is discounted at a rate at 20% each year. And whereas this restriction on the credit facility of not more than 1% of the capital base to a single member put us in problem with the supervisor of bank. And whereas the credit union will have to cease and desist from granting any further unsecured credit to its member until it conforms with the regulation, be it resolved that this annual general meeting approve to transfer the amount that was stated as deferred share to permanent share as at December 31st, 2016. And be it further resolved that the credit union will continue to raise additional permanent share and deferred share consistent with the expected growth in its operation. And as you see there, it is moved by me. To the column on the right, on the left, sorry. And let me say, by the way, we have presented to you our capital adequacy management plan. And in our plan, you have seen that in 2016, we projected to grow asset by 12%. The actual growth was 16%. But we also projected to grow capital by 12%, and the actual growth was 10.82%. It means there that there's an alignment with the growth of asset and the growth of capital. So the projected amount, you could see we needed 26 million, we got 23.8 million. The amount we targeted was 244 million, we got 243 million. And below you'll see for each year, what is the projection, and if you note the similarity there, whatever the growth rate of this asset is this identical growth rate of capital. And I just want to tell you what our capital. Capital is, as I just read, your permanent shares, your institutional capital, which is the statutory reserve, the entrance fee, and the retained earning. Those are the three combined to make institutional capital. And then the deferred share. The Bank of Jamaica will recognize deferred share provided that it remain for a minimum of 3 years. Essentially, and I'm just thinking aloud here, what you could find in a bylaws is that the bylaws could say that the board would be empowered to reinstate, after the exhaustion of that 5 years, that deferred share for another 5 years in order to make the capital stable. That could be something that would be looked at. And as I said, I'm just thinking while I'm standing. Or alternative, you could make it better by have the entire amount transferred to permanent share and make it permanent. Your permanent share is your equity in the business. And I'm going to just give you an experience of the permanent share in the last 5 years in terms of the rate of return. In 2012, the rate of return was 20%. In 2013, it was 16%. In 2014, it was 6.6%. Last year, it was 15%. And in your booklet here, we are proposing to give you 18% on it. So by far, it is the most attractive return. The only difference here, it is like a compulsory savings. So you don't pull it until either you retire or when you decide to discontinue your membership. But it is your business, it is your money, you could do it, just set it and forget it. So essentially that's what I'm proposing to you now. I'm now ready to debate the matter. Any who want to take the floor first?
Somebody at the back.
Come, let me hear you. Yes, Miss Hilton, how are you? You want to come in here to a mic that we can hear you, everybody hear you? Come. Give me time.
4 to 1.
Okay, discontinue. Okay, discontinue.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I am not understanding anything.
Thing that I'm saying.
No, sir, you can break it down, sir.
You know, my things that I say it clearly. No. All right, let's do it over. I'll do it over.
Sir, you're reading it over. You have a knowledge of the accounts. I don't have. So break it down like you said, go buy Corner's chicken back, Corner's.
All right, our capital base as we stand right now.
What is capital, sir?
The capital, what the owner's equity. Let me give you another word for it. It is the owner's equity. It is what the institution owns. So you are part of the ownership of it. So it is the owner's equity, just like how you buy shares in a company. So it is your shares in the company that give you call you a shareholder. They call you now stakeholder, but it is your shareholders. So it is what you own that comprise the and let me give you some accounting lesson now. You have what they call total asset, and then you have capital and liability. So capital and liability is equal total asset. So the total asset of the business is what we have, what is almost 1.9 billion.
Yeah.
But that is comprised with liability and capital. The capital side is what the owners, it is your equity in it, your shares in it. Whereas the liability is like the deposit where the credit union have your deposit and it is classified as deposit, as liability. So am I getting a little bit clearer?
You said the capital.
The capital, So, all right, what comprises the capital now?
Me and you.
Okay.
In the business.
Yes, what we hold. So we have 66 million as permanent share.
Yes.
We have 83 million as deferred share. And the credit union as an institution have what they call the institutional capital, which is the statutory reserve. 20% of the profit is set aside each year.
So that money, me and you don't own that.
Well, yes, because you're a part of the company, so you own it. If we were to dissolve, then you'd have share it up and get some of it.
Okay.
You understand me? So you own it, technically. It's just that it is not part of your share, but it is still part of the institution capital.
But don't wait till me dead to give my own.
We not wait till you're dead, man, because you can will it, you can put it to your beneficiary.
Okay.
So I just want to know, are you clear now?
I understand.
All right, good. Who else? You ready to finish?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
And welcome, Lenora.
Any other comment? Can we break for lunch then and come back and continue? So you can talk about it over lunch? That sounds like a better thing. All right, Mr. Allen, I'll hand over back to you.
Hello? Hey, what's that second here? But we're going for lunch now. All right, we're going to break for lunch, but you know our style of doing things. Eh? God has been good to us, you know, in many ways. And we're going to pray for lunch now. Derek, go to the mic and bless the lunch, man. Come on, folks, it's prayer time, man. Let us be grateful.
Let us pray. Father, for what we are about to receive, we ask that you digest properly in our stomach and let us come back that we can have a very good evening in the afternoon. These are the mercies we ask. Amen.
Amen. All right, so we are, oh no, it's 1 o'clock. We get back here at 5 minutes to 2, where we continue with the afternoon session. Thank you.
Why they look so classical?
Every day, a man come in today. Your file did a long